And it was very profound to look at the sky. And then at some point, it felt like the sky was looking back at me, because you're so immersed in it when you're lying back and you have that vision. And then there's this sense of oneness that happens too.
Welcome to the QBC podcast, where we explore exciting new paradigms that have a meaningful impact on our day-to-day lives. I'm your host, Meredith Oke. Let's keep the conversation going. Join us in our free community by visiting qbcpod.com. That's qbcpod.com. And let's see where the quantum superhighway takes us next. It just seems to be the way that we are, that we really sometimes just love it when things are super complicated. When things are so complicated that we can't do anything about it, it's like, I don't know what to do. And there's almost like a weird safety in feeling helpless. I don't know. Maybe that's just my experience working through life. But we really do sometimes resist the simplest things. And I think, a lot of us have encountered that when we've tried to talk to people about light or circadian rhythms or grounding. And it's like, I'm going to feel better just by like going outside in the morning and turning off my overhead lights. It's like, yeah, you will. And I think, part of the resistance is that it's just so freaking simple and free. And I have to admit, when I first encountered my guest on the episode today, I had that reaction a little bit to what to the program that she offers, or I should say the method that she offers. I was like, really? Okay, it seems kind of basic. And then I talked to her about it, and then I tried it, and yeah, I fell for that old chestnut. It's too simple. It must not be, it's not really going to do anything. Anyway, my guest is Letty Flohr, and she has a method called cloud watching, where you lie down on your back outside and soften your gaze and look at the sky. I know, super simple, probably something maybe you do occasionally anyway. And I actually tried it out yesterday. I was out walking the dog, and I had just had like a lot of things on, and my mind was full, and I'm traveling later, and I'm like this and this and this. And usually I go for a walk with the dog in the forest preserve by our house, like I kind of chill, and my mind kicks up really hot. It gets even faster for a little while, and then as I walk, it kind of dissipates. Yesterday it was not dissipating. It was just like full on. And then I remembered Letty's practice, and it was dry out, so I just like made a little space on the grass in the forest, through a little clump of grass, and I just like lay down and gazed up through the leaves of the trees and breathed and followed her instructions. And I gotta say, people, it was amazing. And the way that she describes it too, it's actually, I think, more effective once you've listened to her talk about it. And also talk about her amazing journey. Yeah. So the only downside was that my poor dog came sprinting back because he was like, "What are you doing on the ground? What happened to you?" But she realized I was okay. It was all good. So here's my chat with Letty. She is a fascinating person. She started out her career on Wall Street, like down on the trading floor with all the guys, starting her day at 4 a.m. And she has evolved from there and has spent like the last 30 years as a spiritual health and wellness coach. She's a lovely person, and I loved her story. I learned a lot just from listening to how she moved through life and how she made decisions and where she is now. So I know that you will really, really super enjoy spending some time with her, as I did. And of course, don't forget to check out our friends at bondcharge.com and put QBC in the discount box at checkout. I recently got their aviators, which my children have let me know are acceptable for me to wear in public. They think they're the cutest ones. So for what it's worth, that's what's going on with me and my blue blockers. And then, of course, also, if you have not tried the LifeWave patches, I really do recommend that you do that. If you want to know why, I've got some podcasts on them, or you can, I've got a little bit of info to go to qbcpod.com/patches. And if you want more info, you can put your email in and I'll send you more info before you buy them. But honestly, like they're really just worth trying. The longer I use them and the more I integrate them into my life and my family's life, the more I'm just like, wow, these are kind of crazy good. And there's nothing going into your body when you use the patch, right? Like there's no exogenous substance at all. It is all light. It is the light from your body interacting with the crystals in the patch. Nothing going in there. It's just, so it's not a supplement. It's not something you take. It is literally just retraining your body to reverse age in a way. Okay. Anyway, here we go. Enjoy my chat with Letty. Hi, Letty Flohr. Welcome to the QVC podcast.
Thank you. I'm so delighted to be here, Meredith. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I just love finding really little interesting hidden stories of people who completely changed their lives driven by their intuition. And so you have gone from a busy Wall Street career, fully in the mainstream and deep in Manhattan. And now you have a beautiful program called Cloud Watching. So
Correct.
I would love to dig into that trajectory.
Of course.
So tell me about what your life was like working on Wall Street.
I was living in Lower Manhattan in my 20s, and I loved working on Wall Street at the time. It was fun. And I was a pretty junior person, even though I was a commercial paper trader, one of those investment banking brokerage firms. And being junior was great because you got to learn so much from all these smart people. So my day would start off like at 4 a.m. I would leave the house in the dark. The newsstand was just like, a block away. And I would wait until the New York Times and the Financial Times and a Wall Street Journal showed up. You could see the truck just boom, putting it on the street. And then I would grab my paper, jump in a cab and get to work. And I didn't have to do all that to get to work so early, but I just wanted to be my best at my job. So I would show up and then read the paper, highlight them with yellow highlighters, all the news. I might even share it with my coworkers who covered some of the accounts. And then I would go and work out for like an hour at the gym. There was a gym right in the building and would just run, just burn off that stress. And then I would show up with my hair blown dry and I would start the day because the meeting started at 8. Just imagine a trading floor with 400 people screaming and yelling prices. And basically my role as a commercial paper trader was to help corporations and banks raise funds anywhere from overnight to 9 months. And then I would have tons of sales force that would help me, kind of like I was a financial matchmaker. Some people needed money, some people want to invest money, and kind of put them together, And of course, if you did the wrong price, you would lose the sale or people would yell at you, basically. It was very transparent back then,
Right.
Yeah, so you were kind of in the hot seat from 8 to 11 o'clock. And then from 11 to 12, you just made sure all the trades settle. There was no errors, precision, fast pace. It was adrenaline rush every single day. And I think at that age, I thought it was fun. I had no idea. Then we would have lunch. And then the next 4 hours, you're just basically preparing for the next sale for the next day. But what was interesting was that it felt like a very complete job. It wasn't like nowadays where you have this ongoing projects. It was like selling widgets. You had a beginning, a middle, and an end. As stressful as it was,
Yeah.
there was something nice about that. When you went home at 5,
things closed. It wasn't like
Yes.
now where all the markets are 24 hours and everything is online. There's no pause between news updates, waiting for the next morning papers. It's just boom, boom, boom all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then at 5 o'clock, I would just go work out again.
Oh my gosh, Letty.
I know. That was my
You were
only.
driven. This is a driven young woman I'm hearing.
Yeah, I was such a doer, and I thought more was better. I thought if I could look my best and be fit and fittest person, human being, then
Yeah.
I thought I would perform well at work because you really needed that bandwidth to really excel at that job.
Mm-hmm.
So I ate really well. I had a friend who, turned me into organic farmers. This is back in the 80s. And she was like, hey, here's Joe. He sells all these heirloom tomatoes that I didn't even know about.
Fabulous.
Yeah. So I focused on eating. And there was a lot of also organic restaurants in New York, believe it or not, Angelica's and Health Pub. So it was really easy to eat clean back then. So I had that going and I would sleep by 9 every night.
Right. Because you're
8:30.
getting up at 4.
Yeah, basically.
You have to.
So that was my life. I think I spent most of my money just working out, nutritionist, chiropractor, just the physical.
So you were
fix it.
always really into health. And yeah, I think this is such an important piece of the story because so many people, myself included, when I talk to them, it's like your 20s are this driven time, whether you're chasing little children or building a career, and it's just like we put all of our energy into this doing. And it just seems to be sort of like the rite of passage. And we have at that age the energy to do it. And then what I hear over and over is that at a certain point, and this was so true for me, like it catches up with you.
Yeah, it does.
And your body and your spirit is like, what is this? So I just want to highlight that because I think your story is really a lot of people's story. And I'm loving these details of 1980s Wall Street. Oh my God, so good.
Yeah, I was a little bit of a rebel. So I didn't wear the blue suit. I used to because I didn't want to take my job seriously.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to have like little Hello Kitty little purse.
Good for
I did
you.
silly things because you're working mostly with men.
Yeah.
Really serious, really intense.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, I spent most of my money on personal training and nutritionists and just kind of, I ran from one appointment to another just to get fixed so I could recharge, So
Right.
that's all I did, thinking the physical was the only way.
And that's a really good point too. Sorry, because I think that's where a lot of us start. It's like, oh, wait, I'm starting to notice a few little, with my lifestyle. And so I'll go to the chiropractor, I'll fix my food, I'll do these things. And then I can just keep doing what I'm doing because I'm adding in these interventions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So anytime I would make a call. Hey, I really need you.
Yeah.
So then I was stressed running from one appointment to another. So how good is that?
Yes. Right.
It made no sense. But in my late 20s, my boss called me into the office, and that rarely happens. So I didn't know what to expect. He brings me into his office. I sit down, and he says, "Congratulations, Letty. You're promoted to vice president." And I'm like, wait, this is like 2-3 years ahead of my timeline. So I'm not registering.
I love it. I love it. You're a timeline person. Like, this is going to happen and then this is going to happen. My life was just total chaos all the time. I never know. So I'm so intrigued by people who plan these things out.
Exactly. So my brain went to, hey, this is another prank. I mean, because on Wall Street, there was just so many pranks going on people. So I forgot he was my boss. And I walked out laughing.
You were I'm promoted. Ha, ha, ha. Okay.
Exactly. Oh, that's funny. Like, you even have a box of business cards. That's like hysterical. So I walk out and then he's chasing me down. At this point, he's just upset. It kind of ended like, congratulations, here's your cards. That was my promotion.
And then you're like, oh, you're serious about this. And he's like, why isn't she more excited?
Exactly. Yeah. So I think I was expecting like, I don't know, like balloons and streamers and world peace, or I don't know. Had all this like looking for love in all the wrong places, as cliche as that sound. Mm-hmm. I think I poured all my heart and soul, like you said, in our 20s, thinking, wow. I mean, it took me a while, but like that shiny title didn't mean much anymore. Yeah. And it was more like, is this it? Like, it was a little scary. Like, this is it? And I thought, do I want another promotion? No. And I realized at that moment that that was no longer my path. It didn't make any sense at all. I think I had this idea of what success looked like, and I wanted the validation from the world. So I did all that and then realized I just felt empty. So it was really sad, but at the same time, it was a wake up call, which was really
Mhm.
important, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. That's actually quite young to have that insight into your life or
Yeah.
into life. And that when we have those external goals, which worked as an executive coach. So I believe in goals.
Right? Yeah.
However, they're not everything. And
Yeah.
so I think when we make them everything and then we reach them and it's just a drop in the bucket,
Yeah.
I mean, that can be a bit of a dark night of the soul.
Yeah. It really was. I think my only saving grace was during that time, I was going to a hiking boot camp. They had the super hiking week. Of course, I had to do the super hiking week where you hike, I think it was 12 to 18 miles a day and yoga for an hour and a half. It was called the ashram in Calabasas. And then you like get massage for an hour and then you do weightlifting for an hour. We ate very sparingly. It was the whole idea was like work your body and
Oh
detox and
my
all
God.
that.
It's so funny. You're like flashing me back to when we lived in Hong Kong and I was surrounded by these like hyper competitive people. And I would come home and my husband was like, "What's up?" And I'm like, "Apparently yoga is competitive." Everything was like, they wouldn't just run. They would do these things where you ran 24 miles a day in the desert and like all these crazy things. I'm like, what's happening? But this is the mindset. Okay.
Yeah, it was definitely that mindset. But, you know, it was funny. I remember the owner looking at us and said, we could do this the easy way, but there was like 11 type A's there, right?
Yeah.
And but you guys wanted the hard way. So have it, have a go at it. And she was like this 70-year-old woman that we used to hike with her and she used to just bolt. I mean, we were all in amazing shape and she just could like surpass all of us. It was amazing, you
Wow.
know? But she had the wisdom to look at us and go, okay, you want the painful way. Let's do that. Let's beat this
Right.
out of
You're
you.
not going to be happy unless it hurts. And then you have to win the hike.
Exactly. But the blessing part of that trip was because I was in that, like, what am I going to do next?
Mm-hmm.
It was really great to be outdoors, right? Open sky, wooded area, hiking 12 to 18 miles, yes, but you were just immersed. I was immersed in nature. And I got to like, after you do the workout, then you start to like deal with your mind, right? And I got to really kind of go deeper and deeper because your defenses go down and then you start to get in touch with your intuition. And the big question was, what if? What if I moved to California? What if I quit Wall Street? And all these what ifs came up. And one of the person I got really close to, she asked me, she said, well, what do you want to do? Or what do you like to do? She said. And I said, I love working out. And she said, well, why don't you help others do that? And I was like, oh, that makes sense because I've been like training for years with amazing physiologists and exercise people. And that just clicked. So I packed up my bags like within a month, took my last bonus from Wall Street, and I went to California. I had no idea what I was going to do. I mean, I kind of knew, but, and then one thing led to another, and I ended up signing up for a master's in spiritual psychology. Took a bunch of personal growth programs, and I really realized there's more than the physical body. I had a lot of
Wow.
inner work to do. It was time to like take a breath and just like what's inside, what not any programming I had from childhood or anything I told myself, but what is really present for me. And it was just a whole time of self-discovery. It was an exciting time because no one knew me too. So I could be anyone I wanted to be, which was kind of fun. It wasn't like, oh yeah, Letty, the driven Wall Street trader. You know, I could just be sort of free. I dressed differently. I kind of let my hair go wild and I didn't wear the perfect outfit. I just started to kind of cut loose. It just came out of the box, so to speak. So it was very freeing.
And then what happened?
And then I opened a business while going to Masters of Spiritual Psychology. I opened a business called Soul to Soul, SOLE to SOUL. And I start to work with clients, not just physically, not just taking them on guided hikes or lifting weights, but I really want to see them as a whole person. I think that's what spiritual psychology taught me is to see the person as a soul, a spiritual being having a human experience rather than the other way around, which I thought was before this whole thing happened. And I could relate to who they were. Most of my clients were busy executives with a lot of decision making responsibilities, and they just needed help. And I didn't want to just help them, I wanted to educate them, empower them so they can be their own personal, not trainer, but personal expert of their own body. Like show them tools of awareness. It could be like heartbeat monitor or just having them say, hey, when you lift, what do you feel? Those kind of things. And also people came to me because they wanted to lose weight or get in shape. And my big question was, why? Why do you want to lose weight? Why do you want to get in shape? And first it might be something like, oh, I want to look good or I want to have confidence. But when you kept asking the why, you got to learn about the person's truth. Like maybe they're looking for a life partner or someone has a book they've been meaning to write. So you find out that they had this weight or this not being shaped as a barrier between them and their dreams. Mm-hmm. So I would invite them to, hey, as we train, if you want to write a book, maybe sit at your desk for 5 minutes with a paper and pen. You don't have to write anything, just show up, because we all know showing up is the hardest part, right? So that was kind of fun, just learning about what do people want and why, and have them really take those little actionable steps while they're transforming physically. So they really build that inner and outer trust. So it was like a puzzle. It was just a lot of fun. I just loved my clients because I could see their beauty and how hard they're working. Mm-hmm. I think that's the kind of support I wanted when I was on Wall Street. So it was very validating, and I felt grateful to be of service in that way. It was kind of like full circle.
Yes. As so many of us do, you became the person you wished you had.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. We do that with parenting and every areas of our life. And so I felt very honored. I always felt privileged that they trust me enough for them to open up, to let go. And in spiritual psychology, one thing that was really important is to really create that loving, safe space. Because without that physical and psychological comfort and safety, nothing happens. Yes. So that was really important. And, if that can't be established, then, you can lift weights all day long, but you're not going to have that connection. So I felt really, I think having the Asian background, I already had that kind of humbleness that came with me. So I think for not to put all on that, but because of my personality and my desire to be of service, I think people kind of got that. There was a mutual trust and respect of like, okay, you're going to be my teacher. And I saw them as my teacher because it was kind of a laboratory of like, how can I be of service physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually to this person? And I felt really honored to have that role.
I love that. And I think it's something that I think about a lot just from my own personal experiences. I think sometimes when we move into a more spiritually based life, we tend to judge people who do work in a corporate structure or who do work in something that we don't consider to fit into that. And, when I see what people in corporate life have to do, like these are some very high level spiritual challenges. You are getting continuous feedback on your performance, on your work. And so I think the souls who sign up to do that are like quite hardy, actually.
Yeah.
It's worth acknowledging that.
Yeah. And I think it's to really want more. I think inwardly they know it could be better. It's that yearning, like it has to be better. And I think asking for help is a huge step.
Yes, because there's finding that balance, right? Like I'm married to someone who lives in that world and who works in that world. And I've worked with lots of women, and they source a lot of satisfaction from their job. It's not like some people like you are like, you know what, I'm out. But some people, they really do source a lot of satisfaction from it. But if that's the only channel, then you will burn out, or you will, at some point, life is going to feel uncomfortable. And so what I see you doing is like opening up some other dimensions so they can continue to do their job and be effective, but also become a more whole and not just have that be the only channel of their worth and their purpose and their energy. Like, how did you see that play out with these types of clients? And I know a lot of people listening are coaches and work with people. So I think this is really beautiful insight into that world.
Yeah, I think what I learned is that a lot of people showed up pretty burnt out, and you can't really push them. Like, you can't say like 10 more push-ups. My intention was to regenerate them, not to deplete them. So in the beginning, it might be just gentle walks and stretching. And I would put them in restorative yoga, which was a way of lying down, but it's opposite of cloud watching. You're basically closing all your senses. You cover your eyes, you put them in very relaxing mode, and you're just shutting the world and going inward, sort of like meditation. But most of the time, when I would put them in that position at the very end of the training, they would just pass out. And as wonderful as I was happy that they finally rested, there was this concern of like, hey, it would be so cool if they could witness their own calm, not just be unconscious, but to witness it. I think that's one thing cloud watching I'm able to give to my clients is that because their eyes are open and they're lying down, it keeps them alert, but in that quiet state, it's like a quiet alertness. So a lot of times I think when you said about my former clients, I think the most important thing is I would do kind of a reality check, like, hey, what time are you sleeping? How's your water intake? All the basics first, right? And I think I was very big on sleep, just making sure they slept early, that sort of thing. But really, I could tell, like, I wouldn't want to push them physically, but then they're like, Letty, I want a bigger workout. I said, you got to sleep more. You gotta,
Good.
I was very kind of strict about that. And I could tell, I would put them on a heart rate monitor. I could tell they couldn't handle after. Their heart rate went too up. So we had all this feedback to see like, hey, they might think they're fine, but their body's not saying so. So I got to have different ways where I could measure, or I would have them do simple body strengthening exercise. And after they were cooked, so then I had to find a way to modify it, but make it still challenging. I think some of my personal trainers who trained me really taught me how to work on the edge, like not over and not too easy, right? Is that perfect rhythm. And I remember, I mean, I think just looking at the person's expression, how they're breathing, it gave me a lot of clues. And then I also put that tool over to them and say, hey, how hard do you think you're working? And I wouldn't let them see the heart rate monitor. And at some point, they would be able to guess where their pulse rate was. I really wanted them to be in tune with their body and use breath and just really celebrate it. It was really fun. It was kind of like we're both on this journey and say, hey, what makes you thrive and what, doesn't.
And you are really being what true healing is, which is empowering them to know their own selves and to know their own bodies.
Yeah, that was my
And
goal.
not have to rely on other people or other things, but to help them cultivate that inner relationship themselves.
Yeah, I think that's what I wanted when I was on Wall Street is I didn't want to go and get fixed. I wanted someone to teach me, how can I be peaceful no matter what's happening in my life and not have to run 10 miles? Because it wasn't sustainable. So it was really about, just really knowing that there are different tools. And I think I kind of became the tool lady, like, oh, if you have this, try this and see what resonates for them. It was really about listening to what they like to do, because otherwise they won't stick to it, right?
Yeah.
So really figuring out what they enjoy and then putting more of that in their program. So it was a lot of fun.
It is really fun.
Yeah.
And then that competitive spirit is sourced from a place of sustainable energy and inspired action.
Yeah, definitely.
As opposed to just chasing the next promotion, which is, as you beautifully illustrated, not always gonna.
It's not going to pan out for sure. Yeah. I learned the hard way, but I think what's good about putting 100%, you find out pretty quickly what works and what doesn't work. So as much as it was my
Yeah.
downfall, it was also, I didn't do 80%. I did 100%. So I was all in. And I think there's significance of just going all in, even if it's the wrong thing. You feedback.
Totally. I totally agree. I mean, listen, if it's a time of pause, it's a time of pause. But other than that, it's, I think, always better to do stuff. And if it's not the thing, you're going to find out really quickly.
Exactly.
And the more of yourself you put into it, the faster you will know.
Yeah,
I love
that's
it.
true,
Yeah.
right?
And that's true. That's probably why you learned so young, is because you were like all in.
Yeah, and I'm super sensitive too. So, yeah, and after I did 10 years of personal training and life coaching, I had my daughter in my early 40s. And I was like, okay, I had 3 careers by then. I was a retail executive, Wall Street, and then life coach and trainer. And I said, I'm going to really enjoy this mothering. So then I traded my heels for garden clogs. I don't know if I even looked in the mirror, but I got into this whole radical homemaking. Again, I got to do it 100%, right?
You're all in. I hear you.
Exactly. So I was determined my daughter was going to have organic food from the garden. So I pulled out the front yard. I do have a knack of finding amazing people. I know you do too. And I found this amazing organic farmer, and she like really helped me put it together with compost piles. Within 6 months, we had like just amazing garden because it was like this double digging process. We did the complicated method, grew from seed. And my daughter used to literally go out with a plate and just put it on and eat it in the garden, and found that so deeply satisfying.
Yes.
It was just a lot of fun. And
Yeah. And now,
yeah,
I mean, this audience knows all of the benefits of that, of eating locally and seasonally, and what you've just grown from a
yeah,
nutritional standpoint, from a quantum biology standpoint, from a like microbiome. I mean, it just, yeah, it's the best medicine.
it was interesting. I mean, I had my fingernails, instead of manicured, it was like dirt, soil stained that you can't even wash out. You have to go to a fancy dinner. You can't scrub it out. But I really enjoyed that part. It was really, really fun. I think my daughter was really a great teacher for me of how to balance in a greater way. I got to mother her in a way that I always wanted to be mothered. It was just very healing. So I really embraced that part of my life. But around when she was 5 years old, I knew it was time to get some education. So I started a doctor of spiritual science program. And I wanted to go deeper in meditation and really learn more of the subtleties of spirituality, learn more about myself as a multidimensional human being. And so I did that. And around that time, long story, so I don't want to go into that, but we had lost our home rather suddenly. But that's another
Okay.
story. And stress came back up in my life. We were in a rental, and I was looking for a house to buy in a seller's market. And my dad, who was in his late 80s, who was really quite independent, needed a lot of care. And my daughter all of a sudden wanted to be homeschooled.
Oh gosh.
So I'm like, well, I don't even know what homeschool is. But there was this wilderness training she wanted to be part of every Friday from 9 to 4. You're in the woods and learning about trees and plants and building forts and making salves and making acorn pancakes. I mean, it was just this whole thing, right?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I thought, okay, we're going to do that. And meanwhile, there's just a lot going on. So around the time, that's when I went backwards in terms of circadian rhythm, right? All of a sudden, I don't want to be looking at my computer when my daughter's up. So I'm researching in the middle of the night,
Mm.
no blue blocker glasses, right? And just researching till 2 in the morning. And then at 6 in the morning, I'd be like, I can't get up. It felt like an Olympic event. Like I
Yeah.
cannot get up. And I didn't know what I was doing to myself because I was hiking every morning. I meditated. I ate healthy, but I didn't make that circadian rhythm connection at the time.
Yeah.
And so that went on. I had dry eyes. I had insomnia. I had no clue. Like, what's wrong with me? I got a sauna. I tried everything.
Right.
So then one day I dropped off my daughter at choir practice and I decided to take a nap. I was so exhausted. So I go to the park, lay down on a picnic blanket, I lie down, and before I got to close my eyes, I saw the sky as if it was the first time I saw the sky. I think it was all that light. I was so used to being indoors, sitting with artificial lighting, and all of a sudden, this glorious panoramic vision. I just felt like I felt like I was at the Grand Canyon for me. It was that spectacular. And I was just in elation and joy. And I felt like I was in the best concert ever. It was really exquisite. And it was all happening, see the dancing leaves and the fresh air, and all the senses were awake and engaged. And I realized that got me really present. And I felt like instead of hurried, I was slowing down. Instead of tense, I was relaxed. So I just felt like a different person for 20 minutes. And the whole time there was a voice in me, because my mind is active, saying, I don't want this to end. I don't want this to end. And so that stayed with me. I didn't think much of it. I packed up my picnic blanket. I walked back to my car, and I had this bounce in my step. And I had this joy in my heart. And I was like, wow, I just thought that's amazing. But I didn't think much of it. So I was doing it once a week, and I thought, oh, this is really nice. I love it. And then when things got rough, I just started to do it every day. I had a meditation practice, so that's still solid. But there was something amazing about doing the opposite, right? Instead of sitting, you're lying down. In cloud watching, you're lying down. Instead of looking at something up close, like a phone, you're taking the panoramic vision. Instead of being indoors in artificial light, you're outdoors. Instead of streaming something or having information coming outside of you, I start downloading my own thoughts and feelings. And because I had the restorative yoga background, I knew how important comfort and safety was. So when you have your eyes open, you naturally go into a safety mode. And I didn't know that until I started following Andrew Huberman, who's really a professor of ophthalmology. And he was telling me there's two ways to go into a quick reset to calm state in real time. I don't think I have his exact words. He said breathing or vision mode, panoramic vision. And I went, oh, that's what cloud watching does.
That's what's happening.
Yeah, I didn't know.
I love that when a piece of science drops in.
Yeah.
And just anchors in a practice that's been making intuitive sense. I love that.
Yeah. He said, it turns off the vigilant mode in your brainstem. And it also has a sense of slowing time. And also metaphorically, when you look, you're taking the whole scene at once. And you're part of that scene because you're zooming out. But when you look at the phone, you're zooming in. You're no longer part of that scene. Everything else is blurred out. You no longer feel safe. So it really made sense of like, okay, it's not only what you're looking at. I was looking at something really beautiful, but it will also, what vision mode? Was it the hard focus or was it the soft focus? Right. And I realized, oh, that's another element. Lying down, you relax your muscles, lower your heart rate, pulse rate, all of that's happening. And then the panoramic vision was like, oh, it turns off the vigilant mode. It relaxes your eye muscles. There was just a lot of things.
And is that like when you're in panoramic mode, and this would make sense. So I'm just imagining myself lying down. I'm like gazing at the clouds. It's panoramic mode. I understand why I don't need to be vigilant because there's nothing behind me. So I'm lying down. I can feel the earth. Exactly. And there's nothing coming towards me because I can see panoramically. Yeah. So that would make total sense that my whole nervous system could downregulate.
Exactly.
That's so interesting.
I know. I found that to be powerful. So I really got into deep dive of the eyes. Because I remember as a kid, I used to live in a, very sheltered life. And then at one point I moved to New York when I was 9. And all of a sudden I got into vigilant mode, right? Because I'm 9 years old, navigating New York City. And my mom says, be careful, right? So I'm 9 years old. Back then you could go to school that was 8 blocks away and it was considered okay.
Right. I know.
Yeah.
Now you can't go to the next lane at the grocery store without your parents.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. So I think I realized like I was using my eyes a lot, even when I was on the computer before this cloud watching, to scan for threats and danger. I didn't realize how much I did that. It was kind of a learned behavior.
Right.
And then I realized, oh, when I see the sky as something expansive, I'm choosing to pause and see beauty. I'm changing the channel. And metaphorically, you just look at the big picture. All of a sudden, I think that's when I got into the science of awe by Dr. Keltner, who's a professor in Berkeley. He has a whole science in awe. And he said it in his own words. I can't say it in his own words, but basically, when you're upon something vastly bigger than yourself, you have this sense of awe. And the night sky, or for me, just any sky does that for me. All of a sudden, the sky obviously is bigger than me. I just feel like a small person. But what is beautiful about that is that I feel like I'm part of the sky. But because I'm this small person compared to the sky, I feel like my problems are smaller. There's a sense of you're this drop in the ocean, but you're also part of the ocean. And it was very profound to look at the sky. And then at some point, it felt like the sky was looking back at me because you're so immersed in it when you're lying back and you have that vision. And then there's this sense of oneness that happens too. So I found it really interesting to have another meditation practice where it wasn't about shutting the world and going inward and sitting up and all of that, but also to have another practice where I could really enjoy the beauty and peace by having my eyes open. I think that meant a lot to me because I'm a visual person. I didn't want to experience peace just by closing my eyes.
Yes. I won't speak for everyone, but I find that actually a hard way to experience peace.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
And I know that's part of the meditation process, but for me, and I know others are like this too, some others, I close my eyes and it gets quiet and then like all the things are like, oh, we're doing this. And it's like, I
Yeah.
kind of get overwhelmed a little bit and you can move through it and find that peace on the other side. But this is just such a beautiful reflection, kind of a mirror process to that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah, I think the sky, what happens is all the senses are engaged, so you automatically become more present. I think that's, you're not trying to quiet your thoughts, you're not trying to sit a certain way. Comfort and safety is number one. I make that the foundation. And then it's like, so if you need a pillow on your head, just, below your head, so your shoulders not tight in the lower back. Get comfortable. That's number one. Feel safe psychologically and physically. Make sure you're looking at the sky, you're not staring at the sun so you don't damage your vision or hurt your skin. So in the shade or anything like that. And then make sure you have panoramic vision. It's not about looking at anything particular. You don't even need clouds. Clouds is entertaining, but it's really about the sky, right? Because clouds, I think of it as thoughts. And it helped me with my meditation practice because when I saw the clouds moving by, I realized, oh, that could be my thoughts moving by. I can just let it go. It comes by just to let go. And then I'm left with the sky or the awareness of that oneness or that communion. So the sky was kind of an easy way into meditation. For some people, it is a meditation. And for some people, it's just something they do before meditation to kind of prepare themselves, your body, quiet your mind, and yet be alert, not pass out. Because I think that's one thing I've seen a lot of people do. They meditate and then they're dozing off. Yeah. So this is a way where your body's quiet, but your eyes are open. And for people who are not used to being outside, as you know, the lumens, the light is way brighter than what any light we can have indoors. So it might take them a while to adjust because most people are used to not being outside. So I tell them, hey, do it before sunrise, do it after sunset, if that's an issue. Yeah, and I just start to learn more about circadian rhythm and just taking everything outdoors, like working outdoors, just exercising everything I could. So our dream home that we're building is all based on that. I have a place to prepare meals and cook it and eat it. There's so many outdoor spaces. And I really did that because I think that's what my body loves is being outside. I haven't figured out where to sleep yet, but I am looking for a shower spot. I'm really excited about having a shower outside.
Yes.
Yeah, and just be that nature wild woman, whatever.
Totally. Oh, how beautiful. And so now it's all coming full circle where you've been able to design your home around all of these principles.
Yeah.
I love it. And I love what you said earlier when you were working with clients who had very intense lives and you were leading them into meditation, but they would fall asleep.
Right.
And you said you wanted them to have the experience of witnessing their own calm.
Yeah.
That's a really, really gorgeous way to articulate it. I really felt that when you said it. I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. It just seemed like if they fall asleep, it's wonderful. But I mean, that's why I love cloud watching is I always wanted to offer a tool to my clients where they didn't need me. I know everyone has the answers inside, just given the right environment. And this is one tool I feel very confident. It doesn't work for everyone. I would say 80% of the people that I meet really benefit from it. And 20% could care less because maybe they're outside all the time or they have something else going on, which is fine. But it's a way to kind of slow down. You get to work on there's a couple of things going on. There's interoception, right? Like, what are you feeling inside? Am I pain? Am I in pain? Am I cold? All those. You have to do that when you're doing cloud watching because otherwise you're going to be uncomfortable. Nothing's going on, right? So then you have to pay attention to what's going on. And the exteroception, which is what do you see? What do you hear? So you get to kind of strengthen both. Because unfortunately, some people wait for that when they go to bed.
Mm.
When they're in bed, they're like, oh, my shoulder's tight. Oh, I don't really feel good. I'm kind of cold. And they're too tired to deal with it. And they go to sleep in that state and they pass out because they're so tired.
Mhm.
And cloud watching, I think, strengthens those interoception and exteroception. It's a way to tune into what's going on in the outer world and also what's going inside. As a caretaker, as a mom, I'm sure it's easy for me to like cater to the other person. How are you? What do you need? And this is something that I do to check inside, listen to my own thoughts, and then yet be aware of my surrounding or the person in front of me. But that's something I'm still working on. Like, how do I be present here and be with you and be of service to you?
Mhm.
And that's something I feel like cloud watching teaches me. Like, if I don't, it's rare that I don't like to see what's in the sky. But I've had clients that said, "Hey, Letty, during the fires, Letty, I'm really freaked out. I don't think I can see the sky. It was orange and murky gray at noon. It's pretty scary." And of course, don't do cloud watching outdoors, hazardous air quality. But I say, hey, just do it for a minute and let me know how it goes. And if not, just stop. So I get a text like 5 minutes later, and they said, the first minute was hard, but I kept doing it. And I didn't feel great, but I kept doing it. But afterwards, I felt great. And that's when Huberman said, it's not what you're seeing, it's how you're seeing it. Yeah. So I was like, oh, this is interesting. And several other people told me that that was during my repeatability study on cloud watching. So a lot of people, impacted 85% of the participants. That was my rule. Just do it for a minute. And also, the study was supposed to be outside, but the fires broke out day 9. And it was a 33-day study. So between 9 and like 20 something, they had to do cloud watching indoors. And guess what? They still had 80% of the time they had a good experience. So I realized there was something to this. Whatever all the elements, lying down, panoramic vision, the light, even if it was there was 5 levers. So, you can't go outside, but you still have the lying down and panoramic vision. And you have the comfort and possibly awe, depending on the situation and wonder.
Yes.
Sometimes you have the light, but maybe you're not comfortable. So the lying down. So even if you did one of those things, you get something. But cloud watching, I feel like there's a lot of boxes you check
Yes.
in 5 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, this is a very complete restorative practice and then some. And I love the element of awe. I'm not familiar with the work of the author you quoted, but the idea of being able to feel awe on a daily basis
Yeah.
for what we're surrounded by. I don't know all of the implications of it, but it feels like it would be quite profound.
Yeah, I think it is. I think awe is, according to a very basic need as a human being, like happiness and love. And I think there is awe everywhere. We just have to put ourselves in that position.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of think of this world as a celebration, and whether it's the moonlight, or or just really looking at a tree carefully and just realizing like what makes it grow this way. There's just so much, right? And when, as a mom, and when your child is young, they're like, "Oh, this is my favorite stick, mom." That's something we lose sometimes.
Mhm.
And for the cloud watching, and that's one of the reasons why I created the app. And I used more of a childlike kind of illustration, because I really wanted to speak to that child in the person.
Yes.
You know, the ones that were kids that used to lie down and look at the
Yeah.
stars and see birds fly above them. There's a whole world above. And it's a different way to experience the world, not just this way, but look up and
Yeah.
see what happens.
And it seems to me that that is part of our DNA. All cultures historically through all of civilization had stories of a of cosmology where we would talk about the grandmother in the sky, or all the different cultures have different interpretations of it, and whether you take it literally or as a mythology, it doesn't really matter, I don't think. I think that it imprints our psyche,
Yes.
and we don't do that as much with our children anymore. Like, it's really faded out of popular culture and education to have these stories where you feel that connection with the cosmos, with this panoramic vision.
Yeah. Yeah, you said it beautifully, Meredith. Thank you. And I think for me, if the part that I love to see the sky, I mean, I do it whenever I need it, definitely on a daily basis. But I love going out when the light is about to change. So between nights to day to night, those are such exquisite times. And I like it when it's really dark before sunrise. Is very exciting to me because it's like a sacred time. You know, it's quiet, everyone's sleeping, and I just feel, and the stars are still out. And it's this very quiet, just energetically, it's quiet and just feels really sacred. And it's hard not to be in awe during that time. Or it could be after dark when it goes from day to night. Sometimes you just see one star and you're like, did I see something? And then two. And then all of a sudden you see a whole bunch. But that transitional time, I feel like, is a very exquisite time. And it's something that my heart and my soul yearns.
When you're physically thirsty and you drink water, it's like that, but on a soul level.
Yeah. And what I like about cloud watching too is I often tell people, I'll meet you there because we're all under the same sky, right? So it's a way that we can all sort of feel connected, and really something we take for granted. Imagine without having a sky. That would be nothing with
Yeah.
everything I love about the world. I mean, the sky is what makes it special to me. I used to go to the beach, and during the pandemic, I couldn't go to the beach. We had to like stay indoors. So I just did it in my backyard. I'm like, oh, that's the same sky as the
Right.
beach. So I was going all the way to the beach or the park really far away because I thought I would have this other experience. And like,
Mhm.
no, this is my portable paradise. As long as I have even partial view of the sky, I'm in. I
You're
got it.
there. There
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. I think that's what's exciting, to give someone a tool where they can do anytime, anywhere. And it's just fun to have people experience it. Some people are like, oh, I don't know what this is. This is this quirky thing. Like, oh, yeah, watch the sky. That sounds exciting to me. They might think it's silly, but people do it for a couple days or more. It's been very impactful. I shared it with a bunch of college students. And I could tell they were kind of rolling their eyes, like, because their professor was having them do this for 2 weeks, consecutive days for 14 days. But the reports that I hear from the professor was profound. I felt,
Wow.
yeah, I was like,
Good for that professor.
yeah,
That's an amazing assignment.
yeah. She really wanted people to experience that sense of inner democracy, before seeing what's going on with the world, because it's so easy to get outraged and upset and go into judgment. So it's like giving them a tool of like, how do you balance yourself so you can see things from a place of neutrality, you know?
Oh,
She's an amazing person.
that's a profound education. That's real education.
Yeah.
Wow.
And she had them track a quality of whatever quality that they want more in their life and see if after they did cloud watching, did it do anything? She made it very research data driven.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really amazing hearing her speak. It's funny because I used to share cloud watching mostly to the spiritual community.
Yeah.
So I thought, okay, a lot of these people are meditators, and of course they would have this experience, but they're like 18 to 20 some.
Mm-hmm.
And they had the expressions they shared was similar to somebody who was an experienced meditator. And I thought, okay, there's something here.
Wow.
So yeah, it's been fun just sharing it. But it's one of those things when you tell someone cloud watching, they're like, oh yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. Like, what? Okay.
Yeah.
Look up
okay.
and there's some clouds.
Yeah. But I just remind them, you don't need clouds. You just look at the sky. Clouds is what inspired me. But it's really about just embracing and communing with the sky.
Such a beautiful practice. Letty, thank you so much for sharing it with us. And I really appreciate how much that you studied the implications of it and did research and found an academic partner to try it out on a different cohort. Like, that really enriches the value proposition that you're laying out here. So just to let everyone know how they can find the instructions and the app that guides you through it, where would they go?
They would just go to thecloudwatchingmethod.com and there'll be links for the app as free right now. And yeah, I would love for people to try it. They can always reach out if there's any feedback. But it's a joy to be of service in this way.
Well, thank you so much for all that you've done, Letty. And thank you for coming on the podcast today to share it with us. We will put the links in the show notes, and maybe we can do a little QBC community cloud watching.
Oh, I would love to
experiment. We'll have you come in and maybe come into the community and give us some tips and talk about how it went.
Oh, that would be a joy for me to do that.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
We'll find a date. And so everyone, make sure you're in the QBC community. It's free. Go to qbcpod.com and click community. And we'll have some updates from Letty in there soon. Thank you.
Thank
what
you.
A joy.
This is a lot of
was
fun.
Such a joy.
Oh, me too. Thank you so much for all your support. I just had so much fun today.
Oh,
Thank you.
I'm glad. This is really fun and exciting, and I look forward to trying it out.
Well, reach out anytime if you need someone, a buddy to guide you through anything. It'd be my joy.
I will.
Great. Thank you again.
This has been the Quantum Biology Collective podcast. To find a practitioner who practices from this point of view, visit our directory at quantumbiologycollective.org. If you are a practitioner, definitely take a look at the Applied Quantum Biology Certification, a 6-week study of the science of the new human health paradigm and its practical application with your patients and clients. We also love to feature graduates of the program on this very podcast. Until next time, the QBC.